Okay, this is Fola, and you are joining in on the Living a You-Filled Life podcast, episode number 4. I am in Edmonton, and today I have with me the lovely Miss Jamie Learning, who is a great friend of mine and an entrepreneur in healing and the arts. And she's joining us now from the often rainy Vancouver, British Columbia. Jamie's been making huge life changes, and she's transitioning from being a full-time live events decoration technician to focusing more on her healing practice at Sea to Sky Healing. So please welcome Jamie.
Okay.
Hello.
It's a pleasure to be here, Fola. Thank you for having me.
Yes, I love the fact that you're on here because I'm like, you can't see me, but I was like, bow down. Oh, a wise one. That's what I feel. No pressure. No, I'm just kidding.
No pressure.
But seriously,
Fola, big love to you too, girl.
Yeah, and I love, like, we met maybe 2 years ago or so now, and just really by chance, not chance. And since then we've stayed connected.
Oh, yeah.
And every time we meet, I feel like there's just, these like wisdom bombs being dropped. So I had asked Jamie to come on here because she's been manifesting quite a few things in her life recently, even though, as with anything, when we're going through life, we face a lot of fears, face that lovely, what we might think is the enemy of change. And she's, making strides in her personal life with moving, in her business life with like a transition into what her passion is. So I was hoping, Jamie, that you could share a bit about, kind of what maybe has led you here today and into BC, because I think you're originally from the Edmonton-ish area, correct?
I am originally from the Edmonton-ish area. I grew up in St. Albert, excuse me, and also escaped there numerous years ago, which was my first jaunt with change and fear and having a good time thereafter, which is really what you want to do when coming up against that obstacle. More recently, I had been desiring change in my life. I'm a live events decoration technician by trade currently. It's my bread and butter, but it's very hard on the body and the hours are long. And I wanted to find more balance in my life with my work schedule and my life schedule. It's all about balance.
Mm-hmm.
Funny thing about change is if you don't want it to happen or you're avoiding it, it'll come at you anyways. So I had a comfortable, now mind you, comfortable spot in Vancouver Special House, which is a certain style of architecture out here, and I was living with 3 roommates, and it wasn't fantastic, but neither was it bad. As I said, comfortable, big house. I had a nice room. The price was right. The location was pretty good. But the thing with comfort is it doesn't promote growth. And even though I wasn't quite ready, my roommates were. So one of them decided he was getting engaged to his girlfriend, and he dissolved our lease, which gave me, which gave me 1 month to find a new place to live on the oft talked about Vancouver housing market. And I'm a renter, which means I had nowhere to live at the end of July. I looked, man, and I was scared, and it was crazy. And I searched high and low. I asked friends, I asked neighbors, I joined networks on Facebook. I used Craigslist and PadMapper and all of these other apps that I don't recommend because they're probably full of bloatware and tracking stuff. But that aside, I hadn't thought that this change was coming at me at that time. I was not prepared for the level of stress or for the fact that I had already committed myself to working out of town during the summer, which meant I had to make an interim plan happen immediately, or I was going to live in a box under the overpass out on Ninth Street.
That's an exaggeration, right?
I mean, some people do, but it's not for me. It's not for me. I like indoor plumbing and heat and all of that jazz. So I'm lucky enough to have a very caring partner who allowed me to stay with him for a couple of weeks. And I'm also lucky enough to have amazing coworkers and friends who supported me by giving me a corner of their garage and allowing me to sleep on their couch.
Wow, yeah.
I'm so appreciative of my community that I was not quite aware was as supportive as they turned out to be, which is just heartwarming.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, the change was frightening. It was really frightening. I don't often ask people for help. I like to have a bit of a Napoleon complex, being a short person. I like to do things myself. There always comes a time in your life, though, when you need to admit you can't do everything on your own. And it's okay to ask for help, and it's okay to be afraid of not knowing if you can accomplish something yourself.
Yeah. And yeah, you definitely touched on some key points there. Like, I love how you keep talking about the comfort zone, right? And like facing fears that are kind of just underlying the entire time, right? But I know it's a huge part for when your soul or you're wanting to grow, right? Or step more into that thing that you're passionate about or that fulfills you. It's a matter then of stepping out of your comfort zone, because it's what you know.
It is. You think about a seed, and the seed is comfortable in its casing. Its casing protects it. It makes it safe from the elements. But within that casing, if it stays in there, nothing is going to happen. It's just the seed. That is what it will remain the whole time. But to grow, you need to crack it. You need to add water. You need to add sunlight. There's all of these changes, big, huge, epic changes that need to be made to accomplish that. And I don't think I quite realized what I was asking for when I asked the universe for growth. When I asked the universe, hey, I really want to focus on my energy business. This is what I want. And it's like, okay, here's a smack in the face. In the face. There you go.
So here's a disclaimer for manifesting. Be careful what you ask for. Be specific, because you will get what you want.
Even being specific, it may joke with you a bit, because I thought I wanted to live downtown and be closer to where I usually go to work, which is a bunch of venues, like hotels and convention centers. But in the end, I ended up being somewhere quieter in a beautiful neighborhood that has friendly neighbors and lots of free parking, which is more conducive to my energy practice, less conducive to my live events decoration technician entrepreneur practice. So yeah, I felt some fear over this, because it's like, what is this going to do to me being able to get to work? Well, maybe that's not where I'm supposed to be going.
Yeah. So I have some questions, like, for sure, because it sounds like you've clearly you let go, maybe not at first, but I would think that letting go,
Yeah.
kind of surrendering to the process or this like divine plan in a sense that you are also part of creating. By doing that, it's helped. Did you find at any point where you found you were really pushing against? Like, did you notice maybe how things became more challenging or?
Oh, goodness me, yes. Because I had wanted to tie up all of my loose ends before I had to go and work for Shambhala Music Festival this summer. I had really wanted a place to live, somewhere to put all of my things together in one spot and to feel secure in knowing that that was taken care of and I would have somewhere to come back to that was also secure. Well, life isn't always about security now, is it?
No.
To make change, you got to take that leap. I did not secure a place. I had to put my security in knowing that my friends and neighbors and loved ones cared for me and my things. And I had to walk away so that I could go and do this thing that I committed to months and months before I knew any of this change was coming up. I cried. I bawled my eyes out. I had a couple of moments where at work where I was just like not myself. I'm very grateful to my boss for understanding that, well, you're searching for a house, don't know where you live, and feel like you're going to be homeless. You may not be fully in your right mind. He was great about giving me jobs I could accomplish without having to brain too much. But yeah, there's like, expect there to be moments where you break down. Expect there to be moments where you won't feel like you're on your path, and expect there to be moments where you totally question everything that you're doing. I had numerous times where I was like, is this what I should be doing? Can I walk away from this and feel all right about this situation? Because certainly I did not feel secure.
Mm-hmm.
And not to say that my possessions were not taken care of, but there's a certain security that comes with a sense of home and a sense of purpose. And to completely turn your life upside down and do away with pretty much all of those is you can really enjoy your dark night of the soul and see how far down that rabbit hole your fears will go and where they will end.
Yeah, where you'll go. Okay. Yeah, and it makes me, this is something I've kind of struggled with is because I find for my personal life, I may create chaos. Let's put it that way. That's what my teacher would tell me. But if we think about like nature and how nature kind of works, would you say that to me, part of that chaos, if I can call it that, is almost inevitable, right? That just everything going up in the air. I guess though it's a matter of how much you hold on to, like the outcome of it, right? That will matter in the end.
Oh, I love that you said hold on to the outcome, because that's very pertinent in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
I found that the harder a deadline I had on my situation, trying to control where I was going and steer my ship, the more stressed, the harder it got, the less reply backs I got, the less everything. Even like people that were supporting me became turned off to supporting me when I was trying to force the situation and make a place happen. And I looked at some really awful apartments in that time because that was what was available to me. It wasn't the right time.
Yeah.
Right? So there's this concept called wu wei, And Wu Wei deals with duality. It deals with the fact that there is positive and negative in the world. There's light and darkness. But to have one, you need to have the other.
Mm-hmm.
Without the opposite, that does not exist. Wu Wei is finding that moment in between those things where the balance exists and just being there, not forcing one or the other. And I had to Wu Wei and be like, you know what? I committed to Shambhala. That's what I committed to right now. It's not about looking for houses right now. It's not about forcing this, that, or the other. I'm just going to let life take me where it's taking me. These people have decided to support me in my choices, and I'm just going to do it. So I went to Shambhala. It was amazing.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I worked for that music festival, and it was a soul-changing event, as every year is. I made amazing friends. I had a wonderful time. I had all kinds of fun. I was a kid again. And then I came back refreshed to the city and started house hunting with the intent to get something at the end of August, beginning of September. And this time I tried not to push it. I maybe could have been a little nicer on myself even still, but it was very gentle. Said, I will reply to the best ones. I will only go after the biggest fish. This isn't about complacency, and it's not about just finding something and giving in. It's about the right fit for me.
Yeah, and asking for what you want. Yeah, yeah. Well, and get clear too that you're worth more, right? That you can have whatever it is you want. You don't have to settle for less. You have like a vision for your life, right? Where you want to be. Maybe it's not 100% clear, because I don't think any of us are 100% clear on what it's going to look like. But there's just that inner knowing of, hey, like I deserve better than this, or maybe that offer that's coming in or that client that's coming in, it's like, I could just take your money, but I'm going to like maybe just hold off because this is actually what I want, right?
Exactly. And like something that looks good in the moment may or may not be good for you down the road. And it's about holding your situation up to your event horizon and going, will this serve me later? Or is this just a quick gratification right now? And I looked at a bunch of apartments, and some of them looked all right, and I could have had a number of rooms with a number of random people that I had never met. Some of them had great amenities, and some of them didn't, and some of them were overpriced, and some of them weren't. In the end, what I found was a brand new, absolutely immaculately clean space with clean vibes and a good atmosphere, and a landlord that may embody Mr. Dress Up, with a new roommate who's also into the arts and a thoughtful person. Now, if I had forced the situation and been like, I need something by the 15th and it has to be by this time and I need this, that, and the other, like I had thought, I would not be where I am. I may be living in a solarium downtown for the same price, which is literally slightly bigger than a broom closet.
Wow. It just makes me think of my daughter. I don't like, there's times I'll pick her up and in my head, I'm like, oh, I have these plans, elaborate plans for her of like, enjoying something, but she gets in her head something like, I want to have this Slurpee or do something that is just, she's so focused on it. And I'm like standing there and she'll start freaking out. I'm like, you got to calm down. I'm like, I have something better. Like, then I can articulate to her. And then she's like, oh, yeah, 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 yeah. But I like how you mentioned the being a kid, right? Like kind of getting in touch with that inner child, having the fun. I think it's such about that fun. Once you're just fun, letting go, then you can really start to receive like this best part for yourself. So it's so cool to
And
hear that this happened. Love
oh,
it.
completely, completely. I love that you've mentioned that because if you're in a place of happiness and love, you're going to get a place of happiness and love. If you're in a place of fear, if you're fearful that you won't get a nice apartment or the place will be trash or the landlord will be bad, well, guess what? That's what you're asking the world for. I don't need to reiterate the secret for us.
Yeah.
It's plain and simple. If you want good things, want good things. If you don't want good things, well, want whatever that is, but I don't suggest it.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. No, that's beautiful. So how will you be implementing this now as you grow your business? I like I'm hearing what you're saying and I'm just like, oh, like this is perfect because for myself, I want to find a new place to live and new work and really start to grow, right? I can see how it's applicable to every part of life, right? But for you
Right.
personally, how are you going to take this and what's that in between state? I assume you're talking about the in between state of the yin and the yang, correct? You know, the line between the two. Is that?
Ah, grasshopper. There is no in between state.
There
So
is
it's
no.
actually not, there is no in between state. It's actually not the line between the yin and the yang that we are interested in. It is the infinite dot in the lightness and the darkness of the darkness and the lightness. For in one there is the other, and in the other there is the one.
Okay.
The line is separation for sure. This
Mm.
exists uh, because that is what duality is. It is us here experiencing the world and saying, well, because of this, there is this, because black, white, because light, darkness. But the thing that most Western viewers miss, and I've read it's mostly Western viewers,
Mhm.
apparently they have this over in the East, is that that little dot in the dark side that's the white, it's pertaining to the infiniteness of everything, and that even in the darkness there's light.
I believe
And
that.
even in a completely lit room, there's that little shadowy spot off in the corner where it's dark.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a metaphor for yourself, and to not be so hard
Hmm.
on yourself for what your reality is, and be authentic to who you are. Sure, you're a beautiful, loving, caring person, and you care about the world and you care about people. But to be that loving, caring person, maybe you've had times where someone wasn't loving and caring to you, or where you weren't loving and caring, and you know what the opposite of that is, how that feels,
Mm-hmm.
how that affects you. If you didn't, would you be as loving and caring as you are? Probably not.
Okay.
What do you have to compare it to?
Yeah. Well, I guess that's what, even though maybe someone's going through the struggle of trying to like manifest something they want or make these changes in their life, and there's fear, and you're putting up a lot of resistance to the things that you're going through, that it's okay that you're putting up resistance. Like that's kind of just a part of the whole experience, right?
A bit. Because there is that line between the two. There is resistance, but the line is also curved.
Mm-hmm.
So you can have resistance and still give a little. There's a line from an Annie DeFranco song that I really like. How's it go now? the wind will whip against bridges and trees, and whatever doesn't bend breaks.
So you have to be able to give with it. Okay. Yeah.
You have to be able to give way and also want what you desire, I believe. And it doesn't mean it will be comfortable the whole time. I'm sure a tree getting blown over halfway in the wind is not exactly comfortable.
Yeah.
But after the windstorm, the tree goes back to being upright.
Oh, Jamie, I love you. This is supposed to be on the duality talk. No?
I'm sorry.
It's all one.
I got distracted. Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, no, it's perfect. It's perfect. It's all part of the one. So for sure. Okay.
There. Now you've got that woo way going on. You're right.
Okay.
It's all part of the one.
Well, so I guess as we kind of wrap up, I appreciate you sharing your story and your experience. I'm sure those listening will find it of value. I know I have, as I go through my life situation right now, figuring things out. Do you have any last words? Any other advice that you'd like to share for the listeners? That'd be great.
Totally do. I'd love to drop just a little bit more on them if their ears are willing. If you really want a big change in your life, feel it in your heart. Think about what it is. Write it down. Words are magic. Speak it into the world. Think it really hard. Meditate on it. It will come to you. Remember that when you're putting your effort into a passion project, it won't happen overnight. Rome was not built in a day. Neither are you. Neither is what you're passionate about. But that doesn't mean that it isn't going to happen. You just need the patience and the wherewithal to get through to the other side.
Beautiful. Rome wasn't built in a day. So thank you for sharing that. Oh. Well,
thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, it's been wonderful. And I'm sure you will be back because I love this conversation. But thank you, Jamie. Again, for those of you who are interested, I will have a little bit of information at the bottom here. You can check out Jamie at her Sea to Sky Healing. She will be based out of Vancouver. Maybe you can share a little bit about what you offer, Jamie, just as we conclude. That would be great. Yeah.
So I have a home studio now that I can do Reiki in for you. It's comfortable, warm, and quiet. On top of that, I do out calls for a little bit more. If you are in a lot of pain or you're just not wanting to leave your house, I can come to you. And if you're not in the Vancouver area, I do distance healing as well. We can call and have a Skype, or you can give a phone call, and I can do distance healing for you and or a loved one, as long as that loved one has given consent.
Perfect. Yeah. Jamie is a very powerful healer. Check her out at her information. I'll have that here. But until next time, thank you all for listening. And I hope you continue to live your perfectly you-filled life. Make sure you're stepping in through that change. Be willing to face it, even with the fear. And if you need any extra support, we're in the Facebook community. You can reach out to our group of the same name as the podcast. For sure, we're here together to support each other and live an amazing life. So thanks again, everyone. Take care.